up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Lost Ruins of Arnak. It is designed by Min and Elwen and published by Czech Games Edition. This is one of the hottest games out there right now, so we just had to get it to the table as soon as possible. And Julie's going to tell you more about the game itself.
So it is a competitive game that's intended for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, in plays and 30 minutes per player.
Yeah, that's definitely about it, what we've seen from our plays. It can go a little longer depending on how you're trying to score. And what do you think about the age range, Julie? I
think it's a good age. There's a lot of strategy required to decide which the track, research, digging. So I think it's a good age.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The fact you have to go up that research track, and sometimes that's all the actions you're going to be taking. A younger gamer may not find that fun, so they may miss some of those opportunities, and it can be key to winning the game. Now, what are you doing in Lost Ruins of Arnak besides going up a research track to score points? Well, you're going to be building a deck of cards. This is a deck builder and a worker placement game similar to Dune, which we reviewed actually last week. One of the reasons why we got this to the table this week. You will be building your deck of cards by either purchasing items or artifacts. Now, artifacts are purchased with compasses, which represent the amount of time that you've taken to discover them, and items will be purchased with gold. You will be placing your workers at different sites in order to gain resources that you'll need to go up that research track, as well as explore the island of Arnak, discover new sites that will give you better resources in order to be the player that scores the highest points at the end of the game, which will be after the 5th round. So this is very much a time game. It's going to go by quickly. And there's one thing I do want to note. We are only going to be showing the components for the game. We will not be doing a review and how to play.
Well, no, we won't be doing a how to play. We will be doing a review.
Oh, yeah. Well, sorry. I meant the whole review and how to play as an entire thing. So the review will be down below in the video description. If you want to just jump ahead, you can skip the components, so take a look there. But we wanted to try something different. So we wanted to make content that is a little bit shorter. If you would like to see us set up the game, teach you how to play, let us know down below in the comments, and we'll definitely get that set up as a separate video. But we've talked about doing discussion topics on the channel. So for games that have lots of coverage like Arnak, we're going to skip that setup and how to play portion of our video to bring you some more fun topics like Dune versus Arnak. Which should you buy? That should be coming in the near future. I think I've done enough talking about the game and what we're doing on the channel.
Yeah, it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our fellow adventurer, your fellow adventurer.
Fellow archaeologist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're at base camp right now, so we're not competing.
No. But we're going to take it to the table one more time.
Yeah, I got to get some cool assistants. I mean, Sala, Short Round, they're pretty cool characters. Now let's take a quick look at the components for the Lost Ruins of Arnak. Now we'll start with what we don't have out on the table here. So you do get the rule book, which we'll take a look at in just a second. You also get 4 player aids. They've got a list of all the effects, as well as how to conduct your turn, set up for the next round, and the travel hierarchy. These are fairly useful. I'm probably going to laminate them because I don't really like the quality. Now when we're taking a look at Lost Ruins of Arnak, the rule book, I really like the layout. There's lots of flavor text. Now it's a rather long rule book. It's a long box. You got everything you need with regards to setup. On the back, you also have some references. You got the action effects, starting resources, and if you're looking for notes on certain cards and stuff, that's also in the appendix in the back, as well as the Snake Temple side, as it's a double-sided board, and the solo variant are all explained in the back of the rule book. So now let's cruise through the other stuff that we have. So as you can see, you've got meatballs of 4 different colors. Now each player will actually have 2 workers. They will have their notebook and magnifying glass as well. You also get a player board. There are 4 player boards. Now you can have them showing the color of your camp, or you can flip them over and just have them generic. It's also a little different when you're playing on the other side. This is how you make things a little more difficult. And we have not yet to play the Snake Temple side, so not quite sure if we're going to use those for the more difficult variant when we get that to the table. We'll talk about it when we get to the review. Now we've got the magic staff that serves as the round tracker. We've got the clock, which is our first player token. Here we've got the stack of assistants that can be upgraded. They give you a free action that you can take, like trash a card, play a card to draw a card. Then you can upgrade them. Their actions get more powerful. So as you can see, just draw a card. You can upgrade one of your items, gain a compass, pay 1 gold to gain an arrowhead or a jewel. So you get lots of cool stuff with these different assistants that you acquire on the island. Now here we've got our stack of artifact cards. Now you have to pay for them in compasses. When you take them, you gain their effect. If you try to play them during the game, you have to spend one of these tablets to trigger their effect. So treasure chests, lots of cool stuff. They also have a travel value as well. So if you don't have a tablet, don't worry, the cards aren't useless. That one's upside down, so you can gain 2 tablets or pass to gain a gem. Lots of cool stuff that you have in the artifacts. Then we've got the items that you can buy. Some really cool stuff like the airplane. You can get a whip, exile this card to buy an item, an artifact with a discount of 4 compasses. And some of these got turned upside down, not sure how. So binoculars is to activate any level 1 sight. The watch, gain 2 gold or pass to gain 3 gold. Pickaxe, you can spend a compass to gain a tablet and an arrowhead. And as you can see, they all also have those travel icons across the top. Now, we've got the fear cards here. They're all the same. They have a value of 1 boot for traveling and give you -1 victory point at the end of the game. You can see the victory point values for the items and the artifacts here. Now, every player gets a colored starting deck. So when you take a look at the colored starting deck, you'll see that you get 2 fundings. They each have 1 value each of a car or a boat, and then also 2 explorations of a car or a boat. And everyone gets the same starting cards plus 2 fear cards. Now, before we dive into what we've got here, we'll just take a look at these. We get the nice plastic jewels that you can get. So I really like the quality of the components. We do also have the blue arrowheads. And if, for whatever reason, you're running out of certain components or fear cards, we've got the multipliers here that you can use to represent ×3 of, say, a compass or a gold. And then you've got the -2 for the fear. So since we talked about it, we'll just take a look at these quickly. The compass and the gold, which are the 2 resources that you're going to be acquiring primarily in the game. Well, the main resources with regards to purchasing, you'll need everything else as well. Here we've got the level 1 dig sites. So you'll see what the effects are. Gain a fear card, gain a compass, gain a gem, gain a gold and 2 tablets, draw a card, gain a gold and a tablet and an arrowhead. So you get an idea as to what you'll get. However, if you explore a new area, there are guardians for the island of Arnak that you have to defeat by paying this cost here. They will also have a one-time bonus, such as representing a boat, trashing a card. That is a car, drawing a card. So lots of cool stuff. They also give you 5 victory points at the end of the game, so you do want to try to defeat them. Now here we've got the level 2 sites that are more powerful. So you can see arrowhead, gem, a fear card, 2 tablets, 2 arrowheads, 2 tablets and a gem, gold, compass, tablet, arrowhead, just to give you an idea. Lots of cool stuff at these other sites. Now, how I use these, not quite sure, but these are the solo player tiles that come with the game. They tell you what your opponent is going to do, and I always like when a game includes a solo mode because it means you're always able to get it to the table. So here we've got the 2-point tablets that you can buy once you discover the temple for the Lost Ruins, 6-point tablets and 11-point tablets. I'm not going to pick them up, they're fairly straightforward. Here we've got these different bonuses that go on the research track. So sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're face up. They're all the same symbols that you will see on the cards and the locations. Now here are the tidal wave icons, and these just represent areas of the board that you can't go. So for example, in a 2-player game, well, you block this double boot location using these. There's also value on the back of them, but I haven't got to the point in the game where we needed these. I believe they're for the solo variant, or they're going to be used on the other side which we've yet to play at the time of filming. So here we've got the idols. Now, once you gain an idol, if it's face up, you gain its reward. You then flip it down and you got the 3 victory points. You can place them on your board to trigger those effects. They're pretty cool. So as you can see, you got a few different ones, and you'll be acquiring those idols when you explore new locations, as you can see on the board. Now we've covered everything except the boards. So this is the supply board. As you can see, you've got your gold, compass, just a spot for everything, and this will go below your standard game board. Now I'm not going to put this back out because we're going to look at the main board now, which, as I said, is double-sided. So we'll take a look at it slowly. You can see just the way it works. This is the bird temple side. Now if I flip it over, you'll see the bottom part of the bird temple. So everything went well on this side of the expedition, but when you go to the snake temple side, you are part of the second edition expedition to Arnak. So you do get a little bit of a darker setup. Well, everything looks darker. You'll have to rescue some people. There's different resources, and it just changes up the game and makes it a little more difficult. So there you have it. We've now taken a look at all the components for the Lost Ruins of Arnak. And as we mentioned, Julie and I are changing things up for this video. We're going to be going right into our review of the game. So keep it right here. I'll be back as soon as I can get away from that boulder that I think is about to start chasing me. So Indiana Jones, Lost Ruins of Arnak. What do you think of the game?
I think it's a very pretty game. I really do enjoy the artwork on this. I think it's my type of artwork. I enjoyed it. I love the components, the stones, the compasses, not the compasses, the arrowheads,
the stone tablets.
I just don't understand why they went with cardboard, coins, and gold and compasses.
I think it's because of the shape that they wanted to go with. I've never really seen easy to purchase components that would represent those two items. Now, they could definitely got something custom, but it might have increased the cost of the game. That being said, if you do have Lost Ruins of Arnak and you found some pretty cool, blinged out versions of those components, put a link down below in the comments. We want to know.
So even the card stock, I really enjoyed the cards. I think they're good quality. And, we have the big cardboard dig sites and guardians. Those are good quality as well. So the gold and the compass are still good quality. I just would have liked to see them plastic, like the gems and the arrowheads.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to have 2 resources that are cardboard and the rest plastic.
Yeah. That being said, pretty game, really enjoyed it, like the artwork on the cards, like the artwork everywhere. It just makes it fun to play. For me, as I've said before, table presentation is important, and I think this one has great table presence.
Yes, I like the board as well. The art on the board is very thematic. I like how, I'm just looking at the back now, you see the water coming down and even flowing into the ocean, which I think is pretty cool. It's also very thematic with in terms of the blocking tiles for if you are playing a 2-player game. That's just a highlight. We have only played this game at 2 players, so all of our comments will be on that game. So table presence, art, production value, I think we're both in agreement. It looks great. I even like the wooden meeples. I wouldn't want miniatures instead. I think the meeples just work very well.
I do. I think they're nice. They're great. Besides that, it is a deck builder and worker placement, which are 2 things that I really enjoy. And I'm going to come out and say because we played back to back, and it will be another topic. But for me personally, I won't go into details why. I think I like this one better than Dune.
Really? You think you like this one better?
Even though I won most of the Dune games and I lost most of the Arnak games.
Well, I will have to say that the Arnak games, I think, were a lot closer. Yeah. We definitely can track. I think it's easier in Arnak to track your mistakes where you went wrong. You can definitely see that, if I made this move, I could have scored maybe 2 or 3 more points. So it's a lot. You always feel like you're in the game. And we had one game that actually only separated us by 1 point?
Yep.
It was 88 to 87. And then every other game, there was some mistakes made, but easily it was probably about a 4-point spread. So very tight play no matter what. Even when I remember one game, you're like, I'm just getting crushed. I'm being totally left behind. And you just worked your way up the research track, which isn't necessarily the most fun way to get points.
Yeah, that wasn't a fun game. And that's the one thing I would say is that Some of the artifacts, when you're playing a 2-player game, if they come up in
You mean items?
Well, this was an artifact, wasn't it?
No, I was using an airplane. An airplane's an item.
Okay, so...
Or a vehicle. Let's call it a vehicle.
That being said, when you got that, I just felt like I couldn't compete. There was not much I could do. You were just flying everywhere in your airplane. And you had built the perfect deck for it because your airplane was basically coming up almost every turn.
No, it came up every turn. After the first turn, I basically cut my deck down to the 5 cards that I wanted. So every turn, I had 6 compasses, and I didn't even need 6 compasses. I only needed 3 compasses, and I had my airplane. So every turn, I'm like, level 2 side, level 2 side, level 2 side.
Yeah, so basically it allowed you to go for less resources. We had talked about, I had a card the first game that allowed me to buy artifacts for a discount of 3 compasses, so allowed me to pick up free artifacts. And you said, I think this is broken. In the end, I don't think that one is that strong. I think the airplane is definitely a little too strong maybe at a 2-player game. I can definitely see the advantage to it when you're playing higher player counts.
The gap was still only 4 points.
Yeah, but it wasn't... Okay, let me put it this way. It wasn't as much fun to play.
Yes. I think that's what I want. I want you to be clear. Like, you can still be competitive, but there are certain ways of getting points, as we mentioned in the intro. Going up the research track can score a lot of points, but it's not the most fun. I think it's the least thematic thing that you can be doing. It works very well in conjunction with everything else, but if that's the only way you're going to win, it can definitely feel like, that's what I'm doing. I remember, like, just to make sure I was competitive with you, I was like, I got to get up the research track, and that's all I was focusing on.
Yeah. So it really feels like you're in the world. I think it's very well designed, and I think everything is really thematic and appropriate. I really enjoy getting into this game, and I think that's one of its strongest selling points. It's just a lot of fun to play. Yes, a card came up that made you, like we said, a little bit more powerful. Sometimes the cards don't come up, but I don't feel like this is the case where you're in a deck builder that if your cards don't come up, you're not going to win, because again, it's 5 rounds. You have a limited number of rounds. This doesn't go on forever. You have to be timely in your decisions, and I don't know how many times we've played that I went, oh, it's already the 4th round?
Yeah. So I really enjoy that, and I think talking about the rounds and the deck building aspect, if we want to compare this to Dune, in Dune you have 10 rounds of the game, so it's longer. You've got a 10-card deck, and it's more difficult depending on how things go in Dune. You've less control of getting ways to remove cards from your deck. What's very interesting about Arnak is you have a 6-card deck. So if you want, you can essentially have the same 5 cards every turn. And if you work it out well, you can build a very powerful deck that's going to let you do a lot of things, which means the deck building aspect of the game, I think, shines through a lot more than what you're going to see in Dune. Now, your placement and your workers are very important. What I would say is different, though, is that the game incentivizes you to go explore. And that placement of a worker is very valuable, whereas in Dune, getting the right places in order to execute your strategy is what you're going to be doing. Whereas in Arnak, you can sort of be like, all right, I want to go open a level 2 site because I'm going to get 6 points. I'll potentially kill a guardian or fight a guardian, and I don't know what I'm going to get. Whereas in other worker placement games, it's like, I need this specific resources. So the game really pushes that exploration aspect, and building a really sweet deck like I did with the airplane, where I can basically go there all the time, was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just want to clarify when you talk about it's a 6-card deck. You start off with 6 cards, and then you acquire cards, and you can also trash cards. So you could end up if you decide to spend, it is a strategy. It's not necessarily a strategy that I would do, but somebody could win that way, I guess, is not exploring, but focusing a lot on acquisition of cards. It is another way to play.
No, you can definitely do that. You're going to get points for the acquisition of cards, but it'll be very difficult to win the game without getting idols and building resources. Now, you can definitely build a very powerful deck of cards and go to places that others have gone in order to exploit different aspects of the game, but that's something that we did not see happen in a 2-player game. It just doesn't come up. Doesn't work that way because in 2 players, you've got limited locations, and you can only open up one level 1 side, I think, in the first turn. Whereas in a 4-player game, based on the starting resources, which are going to be different than a 2-player game, you're going to have people that are going to be able to almost go there right away, opening up a whole lot of different opportunities and competition over just different spots on the board and being able to go exploring.
Yep. I mean, I think that's all I have to say about it. I think we'll, like we said, we're going to go into a little bit more comparison, a little bit more in-depth comparison of Dune and Arnak, since we've played them so close together, in a separate video. But for Arnak, I mean, like I said, really enjoyed it. I don't really see any negatives. Like I said, there is randomness. I wouldn't hold that against it. It is a deck builder.
I think the one general complaint I've seen, and even had discussions with other players and other content creators, I would say the artifacts aren't all created equal. And I think the artifacts would see more play if they were a little less expensive. Now, there are some fantastic ones. Julie's bought one, I think she got it twice, to basically let her move a guy in order to trigger another location that she hadn't gone to, which was excellent at a great value. It's just you don't always get all these great artifacts that come up. So typically, in a game, we purchase 1 or 2 artifacts, maybe. Often the artifacts were purchased in the last round to trigger their ability to go with whatever we were trying to do.
I've done more than that. I've focused more on artifacts than you have, but then again, I've also lost the last 3 games.
Yes, but the game that you did focus on the artifacts, you had the card that let you buy them at a discount, which makes a huge difference. So there's a lot of value to them. I would just say that if you're looking at the compass to purchase ratio, like, it doesn't always add up.
Oh,
I
no.
can see it being...
Same thing with the coins, though. We saw it in the last game that we played. The coin value does not equate to the value of the card or even to the victory points that you get.
No, and you made, just talking about one of the games, or you made a mistake that you said afterwards, is you brought the brush, which was worth a lot of victory points, and you thought that you get some good value out of it, but essentially you were just using it as the symbol for the vehicle. So actually, that's one thing that we did not mention about the game, and I think that's going to really sort of wrap up our review. I like the multi-use aspect of the cards. The fact that the cards are used to travel to the locations that you need to go to. They can be used to pay for different things, such as defeating guardians, as well as potentially triggering some effects in the game that you need them to.
Getting resources.
Yes, and getting resources as well. So you really have some cool overall effects to the cards. Like, they're not just going to do one thing, and I do like the fact that it makes those fear cards, the ones that give you a negative point, still valuable. You want to get them out of the deck, but they're really good at letting you get started by having those boots that will let you go anywhere. And what did you think of the travel hierarchy with, like, the plane, the ships, the
I would say
automobile?
that is probably, and it's not very complicated, but it is probably the more confusing part I found of the game, is just remembering that hierarchy that,
good thing it's on the player aid.
Yes. Remembering that, a boot is the lowest form, and it makes sense, and then a car and a boat can be substituted for
a boot. And then the airplane's the best.
Yep. So on that note, this was your Christmas present, so why don't you go for a rating first?
So I've got to say, this is probably, like, we've sleeved the game now, just to give you an idea how much I like the game. I even laminated the player aids. That's actually one other little negative, is the corners were fraying. Still good quality, but, paper, things go wrong. I like this. I'm seriously considering my score of this, because rated Dune lower than this. This is definitely going to get a higher rating than Dune for sure, because I've really enjoyed my plays of this. I just don't know if this is as good as I think it is, or if, like, as I play Dune more, if these are going to fluctuate. But I'm hesitating because this is like an 8.5 or a 9.
Okay.
I don't know. It's between 8.5 or 9. You go and let me think about it a little bit more. I wanted more time to think. She threw me off guard.
Yes, he normally lets me do it, and then he jumps in. For me, it's an 8.5. I really do enjoy it. I really have. I don't know that I've given a 9 to anything yet. It's been there. And though I've really enjoyed this, There's still a little flaws, yeah, like we said, of the different value of the cards. I think is what for me the last game brought it down. Maybe if I hadn't had the experience. I mean, we didn't talk about the reverse side either of the what is it called, the snake path?
The Snake Temple, which is a little bit harder. It's a nice addition, and I'm glad you brought it up because thinking more about that, I do see like it's not problematic. It's harder, but you see all the games here. I don't know if we're going to play the game enough to really enjoy the Snake Temple side, but I'm happy that it was included.
Yep.
And the darker aspect and some small changes to the board are really nice. So you know what? I'm just thinking about the artifacts and the way that they are acquired. And as you mentioned, just some of the imbalance in the cards. I'm going to agree with you. This is an 8.5. This is probably going to be one of the best games that we're going to play in 2021. This might have been our top game of 2020, but it definitely belongs in the conversation for one of the games of the year. This and Dune, I think we might enjoy Dune more as we play it with higher players, but I think also just our style of play, what we're going to play together, just elevates that over Dune Imperium. Whereas if I was playing all the time with the West Island Board Gaming Club and we could get together all the time, I think Dune would almost be a regular at the table.
So I guess this will be a revisit in 2022 once things open up and we can play both games in higher player counts and see how it goes.
Yeah, most definitely. So 8.5. I'm going to stick to it.
Before he changes his mind again, I'm going to take this opportunity to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
And also take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So if you'd like to see pictures from Julie and I playing the Lost Ruins of Arnak, they are available on all of the feeds. Also, if you're trying to find a copy of the game, take a look at our discount code down below for multizone.ca. It's a gaming store in Gatineau, Quebec. Great guys. They do lots of cool stuff. If you're local to Gatineau, you should definitely check it out when you're available to. And, when you're able to, not
allowed
available.
to.
Allowed. Thank you. That's actually a much better word. And the discount code is going to get you 10% off your next purchase. And it's a great way to support the channel because a portion of that purchase comes back to us here at Dice and Dragons.
Now, popping up in front of Jason will be a link to our most recent review, and popping up in front of me will be a link to what, Jason?
Oh, it's something going to be Dune. The way the games are so closely related in terms of deck building, worker placement, and both being hot to trot for 2020, I think that's the way it should be.
Right. So now I think it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our fellow adventurer.
And we're gonna keep playing games.
Keep playing games.
This one will come back to the table at some
Almost
point.
definitely. I think the next time we play it, I might have to put on the Indiana Jones soundtrack. Da 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 da.
I was waiting for that part.
Da 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 da.